Hello, my name is Shannon Bauer, and this is my chicken fabrication and chicken stock assignment. To start, I have sanitized my kitchen with my chlorine solution, and I have prepped my cutting board with a towel underneath so it doesn't move. I've washed and dried all my veggies, and I can get started with my knife cuts. For our celery, these are not very uniform in shape, so I'm just going to trim them and give them a rough chop, making sure they're roughly uniform in size. For my carrot, since this is more uniform and can be shaped into nice cuts, I'm going to start by leveling off the bottom. And creating 1/8 inch planks. Just like that. This is probably closer to 1/4 inch actually. With my planks, I'm going to cut them into bâtonnets. If I had done the 1/8 inch plank, then I would make 1/8 inch cuts on this side as well, and that would be called a julienne cut. Here is my bâtonnet. I'm just going to continue cutting up the rest of my planks. And for my next cut, I'm going to show you the rondelle, which is just thin discs. Just like that, nice little coin shapes. You can also do an oblique cut, where you turn your knife and you get these strange topsy-turvy shapes. To dice up my onion, I have cut up the bottom and split it in half. This makes it really easy to remove the skin. And now we can prepare our knife cuts. To dice our onion, we are going to do some horizontal cuts, going to the bulb but not cutting through. One on top. Excuse me one moment, my eyes are tearing up. All right, we're back in business. The next cut is to do straight down. Also going to the bulb, but not through it. The bulb is what's going to hold this together, and so it's not sliding around on us while we're trying to do our final slice. And then you just do down in the other direction. Here's our perfect dice. I'm just going to continue up chopping this onion, and that completes our mirepoix. Okay. I have unpackaged my whole chicken and removed its giblets. Now I'm just patting it dry so it's not sliding around on me on the cutting board. And I've prepped myself with a paring knife, a deboning knife, and a good old chef's knife. I personally prefer using gloves when working with raw meat, so that's what I'm going to do. To begin, we're going to flip our bird over and remove our wings. I'm just going to go straight down between the drumette and once we get there, you can snap it and reveal the joint and just go straight through. Just like that. There's one of our wings. Do the same on the other side. Snap the joint up. And then we can just slice right through. Wing number 2. With our wings, we are going to remove the wing tip. So you find the joint and cut right through. That was a little rough, so I'm going to demonstrate that once again with the other one. I'm going to use my paring knife to help me see a little bit. Perfect. Now I can slip our knife. Right into that joint and through. Now we have a beautiful flat and tip. Now we are going to focus on the legs. I'm going to cut the skin close to the leg so that it's not peeling off the breast. I'm trying not to get the flesh at this point. Same on the other side, close to the leg. And now we'll cut through here to separate it out. Through there. Next, we're going to pull our legs back, which is going to pop them forward. And now we can go along this edge and remove our legs. We want to make sure we are removing this beautiful oyster back here. Here is one of our legs. I'm going to do the same to the other side. As you can see, here is our oyster, beautifully intact, and our second leg. Set that to the side. And now we can work on removing our breasts from the rib cage. To do this, I'm going to feel for the backbone and line my knife up right with it and just guide it along that edge. Scraping the ribs, going down. I'm going to flip this around, get a better angle. And now I'm revealing the drumette joint. Through that, I'm just going to cut the tendons. And here is our first breast with the drumette still attached. I'm going to do the same thing to this other side. Now that all of the meat has been removed, we have a nice clean chicken carcass, our wishbones, and we can continue to break down the pieces into even smaller portions. To break down our breast, we can remove the tender, and that leaves us with a skin-on breast. I'm going to trim the bottom skin just so it's nice and pretty. And then with this, we're going to French it. I'm going to take my knife and cut through the knuckle to reveal the cartilage, and then we can just pop the meat right off of the bone. Push that down. And this is an airline breast. To continue this, we can remove this joint. Make sure we're feeling for it. Go around it. Now we have a drumette for chicken wings and a skin-on breast. To make a supreme, we're going to remove all the fat and skin. And there is a beautiful supreme breast. With our tenderloin, we need to remove this tendon. I like to use the fork trick for that. I need to take off my gloves to do this, to grab the fork. With the fork, you just locate the tendon and slip it right under it. It's a little slippery, but with some patience and a wiggle, you can get it right out. And there is our nice clean tenderloin. Now we are going to break down our legs. They can be enjoyed just like this, or you can separate them apart. We're going to look for this fat line right here and cut through that. Feel for the joint. Nice. No resistance. Perfect. So now we have a bone-in drum and a bone-in thigh. I'm going to leave my drum with the bone in. And now I'm going to dissect the bone. To do this, just run your knife right along the top and down the side. Once you do that, loosen it from the other side. And once both sides are kind of hanging below it, you can take your knife from the top and scrape the back side of the bone. Clean up the skin. And here is our boneless thigh. Once again, we have our tenderloins, my supreme breast, my airline breast, my two boneless skin-on thighs, my bone-in drums, my wing flats, wing tips, and my drumette. Oh, I also have my cleaned carcass and all my extra bones that I'm going to be using for my stock. I've re-sanitized and I've broken down my bones so that they'll lay flatter in my pot. I have measured out a little less than 1 quart of water, since I'm only working with 1 pound of bones. And now I'm going to measure out my mirepoix. I need 64 grams total for this recipe. Mirepoix is a ratio of 50% onion, 25% celery, and 25% carrot. So I'm going to do 32 grams of onion, 18 grams of carrot and celery. Okay. Now we are going to make our sachet, which includes a bay leaf, parsley, some dried thyme, and crushed peppercorns. Now I'm going to wrap this up. And tie this off with some twine, and then we can get our stock all put together. Into our stock pot we have our bones. We're going to cover them with cold water. And bring this over to the stove. At my stove, I've brought my chicken bones and my water to a simmer. I'm going to skim all the impurities off the top. And once all this is cleaned off, we can add our mirepoix and our sachet. All of the floating scum has been removed. I'm going to add my sachet and my mirepoix. Make sure everything's submerged still. And now we're going to let this simmer for a few hours. My stock has been simmering for a few hours. It smells nice and fragrant. I have lined a strainer with multiple layers of cheesecloth. And now we can add our stock. Now I'm going to let this strain and cool off before putting it into a deli cup and saving it for later.